Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and of course, subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and like this video, and let me know what you think about this video. So, I like talking about Dominic Smith, because I know that he's sort of a figure here, where I get the feeling that the fans finally don't really like him anymore, and I don't know why. I think maybe the fact he hasn't hit a home run over here, brings this up. Now, I have an interview here from Anthony DeComo. I'm just going to read you the parts from the interview about Dom. This is Dominic Smith, Mets minor league player. Dominic Smith, by the way. Now, as you know, Dom has been he's not somebody that I like as a player, quite frankly. His numbers reflect bad play. Let me go through some of the numbers. Over his career, his OPS plus is 99. The average baseball player should be 100, so he's below an average player. His wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference, is 0.3, meaning he's only helped the Mets win a third of a game. Not one game, a third of a game. So he's won 3 innings in a game. This year, his wins above replacement has been negative 0.3. In other words, he has lost 33% of a game. Over the last 2 years, Dom has not hit a home run. Well, first of all, Dom's not hit a home run over a year. Last year, he had 11 home runs, but his OPS plus was 82. Now, in 2020, he played great, and he made a fool of himself when he cried in front of everybody about somebody that really didn't deserve to be cried over. And he played great. It was just when the Mets should have traded him when his value was as high as it could be. And a lot of people were saying he was better than Pete Alonso, which I thought was ridiculous at the time, and it looks even more ridiculous now. But let me get into this interview. I hold no punches when it comes to Dominic Smith. I don't think he's any good. So I'm going to read you from Anthony DeComo. Dear Diary, I'm not joking. In recent months, Dominic Smith has taken to journaling about his emotions and his life. Earlier this summer, Smith says he was constantly angry, upset all the time. In a state where, in Smith's words, I wasn't happy at the field, I wasn't happy playing baseball at all, I wasn't happy when I did good. Is that good? I wasn't happy when I did bad. Well, you didn't do a lot of good, Dom. On the advice of a therapist he found in January, Smith began paying more attention to his mental health. How about your baseball health? How about get some, drive the ball out of the ballpark? Journaling became a way not only for him to release his emotions, but to provide evidence of times when he was not upset. Well, if you win the game with a home run, I don't think you're going to be upset. Hit some home runs, Dom. By reading back on past entries, Smith found it easier to anchor himself in the present. Quote, we bottle so many things up as men that we don't really understand what we're feeling or how we're feeling. We just hold a lot of stress, anger, anxiety, different things that we have to get out. I think journaling is big. I think hitting over 300 is big. I think hitting home runs with men on base is big. How about a bases clearing double? That would be big. It's a habit that can aid Smith as he tackles his latest challenge. He's been challenged for the past 2 years. Shortly after he sprained his right ankle in mid-July, the Mets acquired left-handed hitting first baseman and DH Daniel Vogelback, who has thrived in a small sample. To offer additional lefty support, the Mets also traded for outfielder Tyler Naquin. Smith saw those moves and drew the natural conclusion that there may not be space for him in New York once he's healthy. No, there will not be space. May not be space, will not have any space. Earlier this year, he said that type of situation would have sunk his mental state. These days, I'm just at peace right now. Peace? Dom. Yeah, this is a disaster. His prior discontent began in the early days of the season. fresh. So then he's going to start making excuses. He's complaining about not playing time, complaining about having been traded, but the trade got rescinded because the Mets didn't like Chris Paddock's medicals. And then, of course, the Mets released Robbie Cano because he wasn't hitting. He only hit 1 home run this year. He's not even. I don't even know where Cano is. Probably should retire. But he had plenty of times, plenty of opportunities to shine. Did nothing. And now here in this thing, he starts complaining. Let me read this. Coming out the gate, you sit on the bench for 3 straight days after having a spring like that. Who's going to sit here and be happy about that? Mentally, I was in a bad spot, but you had to be professional. I went through a ton of things off the field this year that people don't even know about. Oh, really? I was never at a point where I wanted to quit, and it wasn't even like it had to do with baseball stuff. No kidding. It was just stuff not going my way in life. That's a woman. She's got women problems. When you hear that, it's usually women. I just felt like things couldn't get worse. And then they seemingly did, and it kept snowballing worse and worse. You're trying to control everything, and you just seem like you can't control anything. You can control what you can do on the field, Dom, if you're any good. Now, Dom's excuse last year with the Mets, why he did not do well in the second half, and for a good portion of the first half, was the fact that he said he was injured. So he said he was injured last year, and now this year he says he's having problems off the field. And that it's manifested itself on the field. I'm going to clue you in on anything. Dom's not any good. Nobody else will say it. He's not a good player. I've seen him enough. He's average defensively. He's slick, but he's average defensively. He's not prolific offensively like Pete Alonso is. Pete has excelled. He's gotten better. Dom has had 1,300 at-bats in the big leagues. Let me give you the exact number. 1,244 at-bats in the big leagues. 246 hitter, 308 on OPP, on base percentage, and 424 slugging. If you take out the year and a half that he played, 2019, 2020, I would mention 2019, he was injured. Missed 70 games because he was injured. So he has multiple issues. He can't stay healthy. As you know, in the past, there's been issues about his quite frankly, his character in terms of not working hard enough, being late to games. Never forget, he was benched in a spring training game when Mickey Callaway was manager because he got to the ballpark late. And what was his excuse? He said, what, sleep apnea? He makes too many excuses, and he's, I've been a Met fan a long time, and I know a player that has issues here. And the Mets will have to at some point decide what to do with him in the future. He's not coming back to the Mets this year. I would probably assume that Dom has 2 more years on his contract, that the Mets will non-tender him in the offseason. I don't see a future here with the New York Mets. I don't see him having... He has to get himself under control on the field and not let any distractions take hold of him. But I don't think he's as good as everybody has said he is. And it's a shame. He seems like a nice kid. Oh, well. Mets have to move on, and I think they have moved on. And it's about winning a championship. He's held them back. And I'm uptight with the Mets. They should have traded him after 2020. Because his value was as high as it could get, and they could have brought in a lot of prospects into this farm system that they're struggling to keep in here. Well, anyway. But that's in the former regime. That, they kind of were going through a transition with everything. That, the new regime had to see what was going on with him. And obviously there are issues here. So, let me know what you think about this video. Or please subscribe to the baseball. Hey, look, I will tell you if a player is good, if they're not good. And if I think a player is good, I'll tell you. If whatever it is. It's not personal. It's business. Well, thank you for watching. And I'll see you later.